In this video we're going to go through how to change a fuel pipe on a Stihl MS200T. This one's on a 14-inch cutting arm. Okay, so it's very straightforward this. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to come to the back of the chainsaw. We've got this cover here. It's held on with this captive quarter turn bolt. Just give it a turn to the left with a flat blade, and this black cover comes straight off. The first cover we come to is the sort of the coarse screen, and that's just, it's not bolted on, it's just held on with that cover, and that comes off. Once inside, the carburetor is under this cover. It's held on here with two M8 nuts on studs, so we'll remove them and it'll come off. So taking the M8 socket, just get them started there, and they should just come straight off. There's one, there's two, and this cover should come off, and that holds a little air filter screen there. Now we're in, we've got the carburetor, just a small carburetor here. You can see the butterfly valve, all the linkages, and over here is what we're changing. This fuel pipe penetrates the tank there with a gland, and it comes up. There's two hoses. One comes up here, and it's like a vapor separator or some sort of vent, and then the other pipe goes to the carburetor and obviously feeds the carb with fuel. Inside the tank, on the other end, is the fuel filter, which we'll have to disconnect to remove. So we're going any further. The first thing I want to do is I want to give this a bit of a clean. So we've got all this debris, like I suppose it's like sawdust from cutting trees. So we'll clean it with some carb cleaner. We don't want anything going inside the carburetor itself. The plate's shut currently, which is sort of helping anything that's potentially could have fallen in. We'll clean it all off and get it all nice and clean, and then we'll disconnect the two connections, pop this gland here, and disconnect the fuel filter off the end. So I've just got some basic part cleaner here, aerosol, and we'll just hit it a few times. Go from the top to the bottom so everything falls off. That should do. Get the rest with a little cloth. So the first one we've got here, just use the back of a small flat blade screwdriver. Just pull that vapor separator out of the way. And inside, I'm not sure if you can see, you've got the next pipe coming up, which goes onto the carburetor there. And we'll just push that down, out and off. So the bit that needs to come off is this sort of little valve, just a push fit. So we'll just give it a few twists. And there, that's off. We'll put that to one side because we'll reuse that. So for getting the pipe off the carburetor, there's no real technique. I just use some long nose pliers, and you can see it in there. There's the pipe that it attaches to, and that's it there. I've just literally just slid it off. There's no clamps or anything that hold it on. Both of them disconnected. So we'll go into this. We'll go inside the tank now and disconnect the fuel filter. So laying the engine on its side now, we've got access to the fuel tank. Just pop that cap up and off. See the cord's disconnected there. And when we look inside, should be able to see the fuel filter attached to the end of that pipe somewhere in the tank. The technique to do it is just to long nose pliers, just grab it, and you should be able to manipulate it out. Obviously we can pop it off where it enters the tank there, give us a bit more play. So for jobs like this is where I like to use my extremely long nose pliers. You can get into any deep space with them. There we go, I've manipulated the end, so I've got the fuel filter end out the tank now. And it's just a case of feeding this. I suppose you can do either way. Feed it that way or disconnect it and just pull it through. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to disconnect or pull the end off of the fuel filter and just pull it on the top out. Just with all this extra sediment and that on it, I don't want it going into the tank. There we are, that's the piece out. Didn't take much to do. A couple of minutes to get this part out. So I'll have a closer look at it, but the guy's saying he thinks there's a split on one of the tubes here. When it's running, he says there's fuel pooling around somewhere. So we're going to replace it anyway. Otherwise the replacement is the reverse of the installation. So we're going to replace this part. The installation is the reverse of the disassembly. Obviously it'll be a lot cleaner. Just clean up the areas where you're going to be passing the parts through, and it shouldn't take that long at all, 10-15 minutes. So we've got the new part, and I'm just going to compare it with the old one. You can see they're pretty much the same, it's the same part number. So now we've confirmed that, we'll take it out of the packet and we'll feed it in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to feed the tail end through, which attaches to the fuel filter, through the inlet here. I'm going to grab it inside the fuel tank, pull it up, and then tease the fuel filter onto the end. There's no retaining clip or anything, it's just a push fit. So a good way to do it is with some really long nose pliers. Just sort of stick it in the tank, fish it, and you'll be able to grab it. So there you go, as you can see, I've fed it into the bottom there. Use the long nose pliers just to grip it. There's even a little bit extra I can grab there. And then I'm going to just push the fuel filter on to the end. So give it a little twist to get it on its way. And that's the fuel filter now attached. The next thing to do is to just seat. It's like a grommet there where it goes into the tank, and we'll just push it in and that'll seat it and seal the tank. So there, that's the fuel line in. There is an orientation. As you can see on the old one, there's like a triangle point and then a flat side on this side here. Now that matches up with the actual casing of the chainsaw itself, so you can only put it in one direction, otherwise it won't seat properly. So just take that into consideration when you are trying to put it in, that it does only go in one way, and it will look flush once it's in. So we're nearly there now. We've just got this fuel vent sort of valve to fit. Push fit only goes on one way. Push that over and on, and then that goes into its housing up there. And that's it retained. Did require a new air filter because the old one was a bit rotten. That's the old one there. Seen better days. I didn't have an OEM one, but I did have some filter foam. I've cut it down to size, and we'll just press that in there. And there we go, that'll do the job. And now we'll reassemble the carburetor and back cover. So first things, that cover goes on. We've got the filter there. And then we've got the, sorry, I've got the two little nuts to go on first. The two studs. That's them nipped down. Just reposition that filter because it's a bit offset. That's better. And now we've got the screen. And then the back plate, and then it's a 90-degree clockwise rotation to lock it. Here we are. Lock it down 90 degrees clockwise. Put the saw back on its side, and we'll just check where the fuel filter is. It should be at the bottom of the tank, which you can just see it there. We'll reattach the fuel lid. That's it, locked down, and there you have it. That's how you change the fuel hose on the Stihl MS200T. Hope you've enjoyed that. It was a quick video. Give a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already.